Good afternoon! Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, F1 fantasy strategists all across the globe. I'm here. Almost on time. Almost on time. Welcome, everyone. This is going to be a crazy one. A lot of things to discuss. A lot of things happened. If you want to see a bit of, concise thoughts after FP2, my final thoughts video is live and up on the channel. It's like 16 minutes long. You can have the stream on in the background and watch that to get some more insight what my thoughts were yesterday. We're gonna do a couple of stuff. We're gonna start with some F1 predict, then we're gonna move in, discuss every asset, discuss FP3, Ferrari, Williams, what are we doing? So there's a lot of things to discuss here. Of course, going into top of the hour, we'll be doing the team submissions as always. If you haven't done so already, make sure to join my Discord server. Link to that is in the description on YouTube. I don't think it's over on Twitch. I thought I had this entire week to fix stuff. Also, sorry, I'm a bit stuffed. My throat is not great. It's fine. I'm not gonna get sick. I'm not gonna get sick. I've told myself this. I thought I had this entire week to do stuff, and then literally everyone at work is sick, and now I'm also catching it. So I've had to work this entire week covering shifts. But I'll fix stuff on Twitch soon. I promise. Okay, I promise. But yeah, we're live on Twitch and YouTube as always. And if you join the Discord server and you are either a subscriber on Twitch or a member on YouTube, you have priority when it comes to team submissions that we always do around top of the hour. So in 57 minutes time. Let's see who has made it to chat today. Let's start with YouTube. Radio Paddock, welcome. Ferrari must have now in from -10, -20. We'll talk about that. Nick C, welcome to the stream. Jennifer, welcome, welcome. Hugo, welcome. Sensen, welcome. Frogman. Hasse, welcome. Hadger or Hulk for points. We'll talk about that as well. Make sure to say hello if you're in chat now. Let's see who's over on the Twitch side. We have Big Papa Bob, MJ Gnome, Elvis, JC, Calendori. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me pop out the Twitch chat so I can have it up at all times as well. I really need a third monitor, man. I've been saying this for a while now. I have too many chats to read. Jonathan, Shane, Vitor, welcome, Guga. We need the MS Paint wisdom. There's gonna be some MS Paint today, I promise you. Carlos on Twitch, welcome. And on YouTube. He's on both. That's why I have 5 monitors. Honestly, I kinda need it. I've been stuck on 2 monitors. I'm doing everything here because I need to show you here, what's happening on the main one. Hello from Australia. Welcome, SK. Nigel, question, if you have your wildcard still, is it worth holding on to for another week? If the team you want to build requires a wildcard, use a wildcard. Good morning. What's up? I feel like I'm about to become sick, but I'm not going to become sick. And it's been a stressful week, but a successful one, I would say. If you missed it yesterday, we did a first ever free practice watch along over on Twitch side. So if you haven't followed me on Twitch and if you're on YouTube right now, you should definitely go follow me on Twitch. We're gonna be doing those going forward. So Friday afternoon sessions over on Twitch. If it ain't on paint, it ain't rained. I'll take it. We'll definitely be doing some MS Paint calculations today. Greetings, don't get sick. I'm trying. I'm holding on strong. Aim or Williams is the big question. I mean, it's probably Williams, yeah? So, if you didn't watch my final thoughts, before we get into F1 Predict, because we're going to do that, before we get into F1 Predict, I'm just going to show you what my plans were yesterday, just so we know we have a basis going into the discussion about FP3, about everything that's happened, and where my head was at yesterday. So I had 2 options, in my opinion, yesterday after free practice. And those 2 options were, option 1 was trust Ferrari, get Ferrari in, which meant selling Norris and selling Aston Martin for Ferrari and Alex Albon, right? 2 free transfers, no hit taken. Boom. Done. 2x on Piastri, call today. The second option was Aston Martin and Stroll out. Keeping the triple McLaren going, basically going against Ferrari, but saying that, you know, Ferrari are good and McLaren are better. And in this scenario, we pick Williams, and then we have 8 million for a cheap asset. It could be either Isaac Hadjar or Carlos Sainz. So those were my two options yesterday, and mainly what I discussed for my team in my final thoughts video. I still think... what time do I do team reviews? Top of the hour, so in 53 minutes. So we have one person saying Aston Martin is radioactive this weekend, and one saying keep Stroll, he will be good. We will see. I mean, if I want Williams, I have to downgrade one driver. No Ferrari. That's what I mean. Like, the one option is get Ferrari and Alex Albon. The other option is Williams and, you know, Carlos Sainz or Isaac Hadjar. Cake looking good after FP3. I know. Everything is up in the air after FP3. I really sincerely hope that we get some writer simulations on F1 Fantasy Tools. Alright. Is Limitless good this week? I don't think so. I think it's too unclear who's top. I wouldn't Limitless this week. I would hold it. I would hold it for, like, Mexico. If you still have your Limitless, I would hold it for, like, Mexico. Let's quickly do F1 Predict, because I haven't done that, and we usually do that at the start of the stream before everyone gets into the stream. Boom, let's go. Predict the podium. Let me see. Let me just double check the practice 3 results. Yeah, Leclerc's still up there. I just still think McLaren are going to be the fastest, yeah. Bortoleto puts it P6 for no reason. Hadjar's up there. Albon's P10, yeah. Sainz is not really near it. 1:19.3 is a decent time for Norris. I can't remember what pole time last year was, but it's something like that. Anyway, I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc on the podium. I've said this all week. I think pole position will go to Piastri. I mean, Carlos Sainz sure has been better in practice, but like, more points for Albon, and Albon has outperformed all season. I'm gonna select Albon here. How many teams will get a car into Q3? I'm going to keep guessing 7, even though that gives the least amount of points, because that's just been correct this entire year. Who will finish ahead in the race? I'm going to say Charles Leclerc. Who will set the fastest pit stop time of the race? I'm just going to keep saying Ferrari every time. Why change? Will there be a safety car? I'm going to say yes, because there's going to be gravel on track for sure. So there's definitely going to be like a virtual safety car to clear gravel. I'm going to say fastest lap time is just going to be Piastri, because it's always Piastri. Which team will score more points this weekend? I'm going to go for Ferrari, because I don't trust Kimi Antonelli. And then, will we see a new Italian Grand Prix winner? Yes, because one of the McLaren boys are going to win it. There we go. Perfect. Back to home. That's my F1 predictions. Is there anyone you disagree with there? I feel like those are kind of basic. Good day, Fraser. Singapore for Limitless. I would also agree that Singapore is decent for Limitless, but I think Mexico feels safer for Limitless. I feel like we've seen before how Singapore is unpredictable and teams do poorly or, you know, well there out of nowhere. So I don't think I trust the data from Singapore. If you still have Limitless dying, that's impressive self-control. It really is. Why Mexico over Singapore for Limitless? Just safety and DNF risk, I think. I mean, I did go for it in Monaco, but you know, the temperature in Singapore, it feels like we've seen cars that are usually good there not be good there. So it wouldn't be a surprise to me if like suddenly McLaren aren't fastest in Singapore for no reason. There's too many options this week. I agree, Shane. Rye on Twitch, how are you today? I'm good. JC says, I'm really unsure if I should use my wildcard or just keep Norris. I mean, if you have wildcard, Let's talk about wildcard first, yeah? Don't you think too many people use Limitless in Mexico versus differential now in Monza? I think it's too difficult to call here in Monza, so I wouldn't want to use it. Hamilton's been notoriously bad at overtaking this year. Any options other than Ferrari? But he's also been really good at Monza over the years. But any other options than Ferrari? Yeah, a lot of options. I would say, though, that like the best team to build on like a wildcard. I'm going to go through a couple of wildcard teams, right? Would you wildcard your team? I think so, because I would probably sell both Stroll and Alonso. I wouldn't hate going to a team like this if you have the budget for it. Granted, it's not easy to afford, but like I can afford it with this. But ideally, you're slightly richer than I am, and you could do something like this plus like a Liam Lawson. If you can do this plus Liam Lawson in here, or even like, you know, this and then just one of the Alpine boys, I think this is going to be the strongest team. Though you need slightly higher budget than I have right now. Same value, same team as you. Have you been copying me this entire year, JC? Bring in Williams to get Charles, or keep Ferrari but no Leclerc. That is one of the options I have, yeah. Ferrari always turned up in their home race. Yeah, they seem to have like a special engine for that, you know, a special box at Maranello that just says brake only for Monza. And then the car just works there. But yeah, if you have a slightly higher budget than 129.8 million and you have your wildcard active, I think this team just looks kind of unstoppable. The thing is, like, if I had my wildcard, I would not go for this. Because I don't like having both the Alpine boys. I think there are such good options that just slightly higher. You could also do Hamilton here, if you're slightly lower on budget and you're wildcarding. Because I do think, like, Hamilton could get overtakes, and if he, you know, goes from P9 to P4, maybe he gets driver of the day. So where are the boys? I mean, we're close. This doesn't look awful. And I can afford this exactly, but obviously I'm not going to do this because it's a minus 100. Uber, welcome to the stream, man. Monaco as well for Charles, yep. Disagree on Leclerc quali third, very lucky to get 2 toes at the end of FP3. I still trusted him to do it. So I think a team like this, or if you're slightly higher budget, get Leclerc. I do prefer Leclerc to Hamilton, obviously. And, you know. So if you're on like 132 million, I think this is the strongest team. Who do you like the most out of the Williams assets? Albon, but like Albon is a different price category, so it depends entirely what you can afford in your team. I missed FP3 hires Williams pace. Yeah, they're not top 3, but we'll see. I still think Williams will be good this weekend. Minus 10 points worth to get Williams and Sainz with triple McLaren. Depends on who you're selling, Vedant. Depends on who you're selling. Yeah, I talked about this a lot yesterday, Aguilas, in my final thoughts video. I think Leclerc is favored for driver of the day for sure. For sure. But if you're, I mean, if you're on if you're on like 128 million-ish, then maybe you do this, but with George Russell, like you do the 4A lineup. But I do think it is important to actually have the correct cheap assets. Like I can afford. Again, I don't have my wildcard, so I can't do this. But I wouldn't go for this because I don't want double Alpine in my team. So even though like I technically have the best combo, I wouldn't go for this. I think it's too important to have like Isaac Hadjar, Liam Lawson, Carlos Sainz. Those 4. If you can build a 4A team with like these guys in here, like now we're talking. Yeah, if you can build this team with a 4A, that's what you should do. I think that's too important to ignore. So I do think a 4A team is going to be the best this weekend, but it's too expensive for a lot of us to afford. I think if you're like Fraser, you should probably go for it. Fraser, what's your budget now? Are you still in the stream? I'm almost at 130 million. What are you at, like 135? But yeah, this is my team, so we have to sort of discuss. Elvis 133.8 is pretty crazy. You can probably go for the team like that. If you have 134.6 for Fraser, god damn. That's crazy. That's honestly nuts. There's just so many good assets, so many potential teams this week. What do you think about Science for today? I think Science is good today. Like, I think if you can get Albon, you get Albon over Science. But Albon is a completely different asset than Science because he's so much more expensive. I think Science is completely fine. I'm considering him. Is Lawson a hold? Yeah. Ban Fraser budget talk. What on Red Bull as second constructor? That seems like poison. That seems worse than Mercedes. I'm not picking Mercedes constructor because of Kimi Antonelli. I'm definitely not picking Red Bull constructor because of Tsunoda. Worth a -10 to get Ferrari in instead of Aston Martin? I think it could be, but again, it depends on who you're selling exactly. What does your team show us? This is my team currently, but I haven't decided what transfers to make. So we'll see what my team ends up being. I honestly don't know yet what my preferred selection is. All right, I think it's time for some MS Paint because I need to explain this to you guys. I think it's time. So, I think, despite what happened in FP3, I still think my two options are the same. So, on one team, we're gonna have... So the two options, okay? There's two options for my team. And I need you guys to decide which one is the best. Because I honestly think it's very close. So team 1 would have Piastri. It would have Albon. It would have Bortoleto. It would have Stroll and Alonso. And I know that's double Aston Martin, but I just can't sell them, okay? With Ferrari McLaren. Okay? The second team would be Norris, Piastri, Sainz, Bortoleto, and Alonso. With Williams, McLaren. Now, obviously, a bunch of these teams are different, or you know, a bunch of these assets are the same. So we can cross out McLaren here, doesn't matter. We can cross out Piastri, doesn't matter. I'm gonna have Piastri no matter what. We can cross out Alonso, doesn't matter. We can cross out Bortoleto. And then, if you actually pay attention, here I have Albon and Williams. Like, that's what Williams is. Williams is Albon plus Sainz plus some constructor points. Ferrari is Hamilton plus Leclerc plus some constructor points. So the actual question, because we actually have Albon here and half of Albon here. So the real question, if you actually pay attention to it, is Norris and Sainz and Sainz, right? Because I have technically two Sainz here, because I have both Sainz, the driver, and Sainz within the Williams constructor. Let's just ignore constructor points for now. You know, fastest pit stop and both drivers making Q3. And on this side, it is Hamilton, Leclerc, without driver of the day points because they're within the Ferrari constructor, and Stroll. So, with that said, do you prefer Hamilton, Leclerc, Stroll, or Norris, Sainz, and Sainz? What about Leclerc driver today with a B-tier constructor? Sure, but it's not really in my plans at the moment, Neutrum. I agree that could be an option. JC says bottom one surely. Elvis says bottom one as well over on Twitch. On YouTube it's more split. Bruno says 2. Jonathan says 1 all day. Like, this is the actual question for me. You know, when you actually break it down, and I think that this is the reason why I use MS Paint, guys, because you know, it actually shows the difference between the two teams. I do think Norris has more points, yeah. So we can start like imagining what we think these assets are going to score. So let's say Leclerc does get P3, ignoring driver of the day points, because again, it's from the Ferrari constructor. So P3 Leclerc, you know, would get 8 points for qualifying, and then he would get 15 points, so that's 23 plus a few overtakes. So let's say Leclerc gets 25 points. Let's say Leclerc gets 25 points without driver of the day. Let's say Hamilton qualifies like P5, that's 6 points. Brought down to his penalty puts him at P10. He then climbs back to P5 for 5 positions gained and a couple of overtakes. So that's what, 6 plus 10, so 16, and then some overtakes. What would that be? So then another like 10 points. So like another 25 points, yeah? And then we don't expect too much from Stroll. Let's say he gets 5 points, I don't know. And then we have Norris, who, if he gets second place, let's assume Piastri wins. If Norris gets second place... if Norris gets second place, he's at, what, 18... plus 9, that is 27, plus like an overtake, so say like 30 points. And then we have Sainz. What does Sainz score? 10 points? Let's say Sainz scores 10 points. It like slightly edges out for the top side. Sainz DNF incoming? Yeah, I know. He DNFs minus 20. Sainz is a risk? Sure. I can see that. I think, you know, anything is a risk, technically. But I think it's very close. I think it's very close. Include budget in the graph? Too expensive. Or too complicated. And I don't really care what happens budget-wise. To be honest, I only care about the points. But if Norris were to win and not get second, then the Norris team is better. Isn't the bottom one Norris, Sainz, Albon? Why is he yeah, so the reason why the bottom one is not Albon is because Albon's in the top team as well, Uber. But yeah. Isn't Team 1 better going forward? Do you have wildcard? I don't have wildcard. That's the problem. Otherwise, I wouldn't have... I don't think I would have Stroll or Alonso on a wildcard. If I were to wildcard with my budget, I think if I were to go for this sort of team, I would have Sainz, Bortoleto, Hadjar, and not Sainz, Bortoleto, Alonso. And if I were to wildcard with this sort of team, I would also switch out Stroll and Alonso to, and probably Bortoleto to like Lawson, Sainz, Hadjar. So I don't have wildcard. I would use it if I had it though. What was this? Yeah, I think it was someone else, actually. Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was someone else. Mr. Dega, no Bortoleto? I mean, Bortoleto I have on both teams, so that's why it's crossed out. But I would consider having him. I just kind of prefer Lawson. Maybe I prefer Bortoleto. I don't know. He did well in FP3. He looks strong. He also won here last year from Lost, so maybe it would be Bortoleto over Lawson, actually. With a wildcard, you would go for a more optimal Team 1. I think so as well, yes. I think it's just I don't like the Stroll and Alonso pick that much. So I think you're correct, Hakon. I think I would go for top team. If I had my wildcard with my budget, I would go for top team. But instead of Stroll and Alonso, I would have probably Sainz and Hadjar. Are Kick supposed to do well in this type of race? I don't know. Kick is a mystery, man. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. Russell, I think Russell's fine. I just kind of prefer to, you know, if you could get Piastri Leclerc or Piastri Hamilton, I slightly prefer that this week. In FP2, Sauber had the highest top speed. I thought it was... Are you sure about that, Nassar? I saw some stats saying there was Norris that had the highest top speed. What are the drivers saying after the sessions? Remember you said listen to the interview, see how the drivers feel? Yeah, I've not heard anything to, like, indicate that a car's bad apart from, like, Alpine. The Alpine drivers are complaining massively. But I haven't heard anything, like, anyone saying, you know, the car feels mega here or whatever. I've also not heard any of the interviews after FP3, so if anyone knows anything, then please let me know. Does Williams set you up for next week more like you said in your video? I think both of these teams set me up fine for next week. I would say the Williams team set me up slightly better than this team, because this team have to sell either Stroll or Alonso, whereas I could see myself keeping all three of these in Azerbaijan. Is Max a viable option? Yes, but he's very difficult to fit in. I don't think I would pick him over Leclerc or any of the McLaren drivers. If Max was like 26 million, I think he would actually be a conversation. No minus 10 for Hadjar. No, I almost never take minus 10s just to shift cheap assets around. Because, like, I could do the top team and then just sell Stroll or Alonso for minus 10 to any of the cheap assets that I want, such as Sainz or Hadjar. But, like, I don't want to do that. I think right now, I'm leaning towards the Williams team. And then the question is just, is it Carlos Sainz or is it Isaac Hadjar? Sorry. Is George looking good? I think George looks fine. I think he's going to be P4, P5, as he always is. I think George is never a bad option. I think call up into DNF. That is very possible. I can't decide. Same. I mean, Fraser, do you have your wildcard available? Because if you do, I mean, you just go ham, no? You just go Piastri, Leclerc, McLaren, Ferrari, plus best cheap assets. What about Kick as a constructor? I think Kick is fine as a constructor, but I slightly prefer Williams, especially over the next two. Tier lists? Yeah, we should do one. Ferrari way too strong this week to ignore. I mean, all I need is Williams to just score decently well and McLaren to 1-2 it. So this is like, do we expect McLaren to get a 1-2? If we expect Ferrari to actually ruin McLaren's day and either get the win or snag a P2 in there, I think the Ferrari option is the best option. Options, yeah, I'll check you in, members. I'm just interested in your play because you have so much budget to play around with. What about a 4A team with wildcard? I think 4A is good this week. And the richer you are, the better it is. I discussed that at the start of the video, Yusuf. My preferred 4A lineup is Piastri, Leclerc, McLaren, Ferrari, but that's really expensive. And I think it's important on a 4A that you have that you don't run Alpine drivers, that you actually run like Lawson, Sainz, Bortoletto, and Hadjar. Sainz versus Hadjar, very close this week. Very, very close this week. Will there be another right to simulation? I don't know. I hope so. I haven't checked. I haven't checked. Yep. I have not seen anything about it. I hope so. Anyone breaking top 100 in the Global League? I think there's a guy at the top of my mini league that's like 25th in the world. Something like that. Alonso or Stroll? I prefer to keep Alonso long term. Downgrade to Williams from Ferrari to like. Okay, let's actually discuss that team, right? Because I'm talking about selling Stroll here. The reason I kind of want to get rid of the Aston Martin assets, right? So if I'm to go for Williams here, one option is also to sell Norris to Leclerc and go Piastri, Leclerc, McLaren, Williams. But then I'm still stuck with Stroll, right? So at this point, I would rather sell Stroll, keep Lando, ignore Leclerc, and get like Hadjar or Sainz in here. Hulk or Albon? Albon, definitely. Size for Lawson or Roll? I think it's fine to use all your transfers this week because I expect the meta to be similar in Azerbaijan. So you can afford to use all your transfers here and then save a transfer in Azerbaijan. Your 100th noble? Congratulations, man. That's huge. Just tuning in here in Sydney. Welcome to the stream, Robert. Sainz over Albon? No. I mean, if you can afford Albon, you get Albon. It's just that they are so different because they're, you know, it's so much price. Like, the price difference is insane. That they're very different assets. But, like, if you can straight up choose one of them, I would go for Albon every time. What 4 B tier drivers would you pick? Probably Albon, and then any combo of the 5 million horsemen. These are the horsemen of the 4 horsemen of 5 million, you know, F1 fantasy assets. Carlos Sainz, Isaac Hadjar, Lawson, Bortoletto. If I could pick 4 B tiers this week, I would pick Albon plus 3 of these. Is that what we should call these for? Because I feel like 4A lineup plus 3 of the horsemen are like that's the peak. If you can get to that, then that's the strategy to go for. Is it the lineup I'm going with? Williams over Ferrari? I haven't decided yet. This is just one of the options. I've not decided yet. We did a whole thing between option 1 and option 2. This would be option 2. This with Hadjar instead of Sainz, I've also considered it. It's possible if I go with Williams that I go for Hadjar instead. It's also safer budget-wise to pick Hadjar. So there is some merit in that. I know I said I didn't care about budget, but there's a bit of merit to picking Hadjar here. What's the average budget of top 500? 130 million is higher or lower? I would imagine top 500 probably have a budget an average budget slightly above 130 mil. The 4 horsemen of the 5 apocalypse. That's a great name. That's these 4. Let's just remove these. The 4 horsemen of the 5 apocalypse. If you could afford a 4A lineup with 3 of the 4 horsemen of the 5 apocalypse. I know that was the most confusing thing I've ever uttered on this channel. But that's the meta this week. That's the meta this week. I mean, you shouldn't have all of these, but like, what I'm saying is that these are the guys that you want in terms of cheap assets. You don't want to pick Gasly or Colapinto. Okay, I can feel my nose begin to run, so I'm just gonna quickly go and blow my nose. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. It's Fika o'clock. I wish. It's Höstnuva o'clock. Höstnuva. Yeah, yeah. It's sick fall time o'clock. Whew. But we're back. Rye over on Twitch. Let me just show you what he said. Said, last week Verstappen messed up Lando's race with that quick overtake. Now Leclerc's also there, so both Verstappen and Leclerc could cause troubles for McLaren. It's possible. I need Fika for sickness. I do need Fika for sickness. MJ Gnome says McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Leclerc, Hadjar, Lawson, Bortoleto worth -20. Probably not, because I assume you're using at least one -10 to change cheap assets. But if you actually do, I think -20 is a hard sell. I think you can definitely just make a slightly suboptimal team for 1 week, and then just make the final transfer next time. Just keep Alonso for a week. Who cares? Did Lawson look good over Sainz? I think Lawson is super fine to hold, but I would, if I were to buy one, I would buy Sainz or Hadjar over Lawson. But I think Lawson is super, like, Lawson is a really good asset. If you have Lawson, you don't need to rush to sell him. Same with Bortoleto. There's no reason to sell Lawson or Bortoleto this weekend. I think it's super fine to hold both. But if I were to buy one, I would buy Sainz or Hadjar over Lawson. Piastri and Williams or Albon and Ferrari? Evan, you almost read my mind. This is literally what we've been discussing. But for me, it would be Norris. So, yeah. Does Leclerc outpace Norris or Piastri on race day? That's the question. If Norris and Piastri takes a 1-2, I do think the Norris-Williams team is stronger. But if Leclerc is going to be there and cause an upset, I mean, the Ferrari team is obviously better than. By the way, quick plug. If you are on Twitch or on YouTube, whatever, and you want priority in team submissions, which we will do in 20 minutes, make sure to check if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, and if you do, you can subscribe to the Twitch channel with Prime. If you then link your Twitch channel to your Discord, you can get into the members and subscribers exclusive Discord channel, which means you get priority when we get to the team submissions. Again, that's in 20 minutes. If you have a Twitch Prime available, just use it, because if you don't use it, that's just money that goes straight to Jeff Bezos. You don't have to use it on me, just use it on someone, right? So, use it somewhere, either on me or on someone else. But if you use it on me, you do get some benefits for it. Thank you so much for the follows over on Twitch, by the way. And also, if you want priority, but you don't want to go over to Twitch, or you don't have Amazon Prime, or whatever, you can also just become a member. That is also on YouTube for like $2 a month. It's always appreciated. Alright, that was a quick plug. Do a poll, Hadjar versus Sainz. We're gonna do a tier list here, so we'll discuss that when we do that. Colapinto bad or Gasly budget loss? Can I say neither, Jacob? Alright, let me get my... Where are all my flags? Where have they gone? I can't find all my flags. No. Okay, whatever. We'll do it flagless. We'll do it flagless. Let's see. So this was from a couple weeks ago. There we go. Alright, time to rank the drivers. I usually don't rank the constructors, but we might have to talk about that today. The constructors are pretty self-explanatory, I think. But we gotta discuss all of these guys. That was from Hungary, by the way, when Hadjar was F tier. Remember that? Okay. Give me a driver. Who do we start with? First driver name I see in chats. Lawson from Sanja. Boom. Lawson. Actually, what's his budgets? Okay. Should we discuss this in terms of budget? I'm actually just not gonna look and remember what Lawson's budget's threshold is. Because, truthfully, if an asset is good or not, the budget is a very, very minor part of it now for me. So, I would say Lawson is an A tier asset. I think it's a super fine hold. But I think there are better drivers. Actually, that's probably B tier, right? Now let's put him A tier. I think Lawson's good enough to be A tier. He's shown really good form lately. And if he had not had that incident with Sainz in the last race, he would have had like an amazing last 5. He's on good form. The VCARB looks drivable. Lawson is expected 0.2 minus. Okay, that's fair. I think it's probably bottom of A tier then, but I don't think you have to sell him because of that. Lawson is a nutcase. I think Lawson's fine. Let's talk Charles Leclerc. I think Leclerc's in a really good spot this weekend. I think he's one of the better premium assets to own. He's not Piastri good because Piastri is never going to leave S tier, but Leclerc looks really good this weekend, especially for a combo between Piastri and himself. I think he's favored for driver of the day. I think Hamilton is definitely pickable. None of these are going to increase in price, but again, I don't really care about that anymore. But I would pick Leclerc over Hamilton. Hamilton has some overtaking opportunities, also some driver of the day potential if he can fulfill that overtaking potential. Lawson is very accident prone. Sure, I agree, but I also think I mean, if you look at his recent 5, if it wasn't for that incident with Sainz, he would have had a really, really good last 5. He would have scored points in 4 of the last 5 races if it wasn't for that Sainz incident. I think Colapinto, listen, Colapinto is 4.5 million, but is he still F tier? I've never put a 4.5 million asset in F tier before. I truly think he's just that bad. He literally is just a own him if you have to, if your budget's really bad. The fact that like Lawson and Bortoleto are 0.6 million more expensive than him means that you should try and afford them every time. And I think Gasly's probably the same. He's probably likely to join Colapinto at 4.5 million. Gasly is better than Colapinto because at least Gasly can score some points if he has a good race. What about Russell? I think Russell is just quintessential B tier. I think he's fine. Would I own him over Hamilton? Maybe. I can see an argument that you should pick Hamilton over Russell. At least Russell might increase in price, which the others won't, so he has that going for him. He's cheaper, which means he's easier to afford on a 4A lineup. But yeah. I think Russell's just a fine own. I think Norris also has to go in the A tier. I don't think he's S tier. S tier are like the must-haves, right? Norris is not must-have. He's a good asset. I think he is on par with Leclerc for this weekend. Probably above him, but I don't really order them in the separate tiers all the time. Yuki Tsunoda's F tier. There's no reason to own Yuki Tsunoda. Max has to go in C tier just because he's so expensive. At that price point, just pick anyone else and upgrade your cheap assets. I don't think anyone's team is in a position to own Max Verstappen. Stefan Olga, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Welcome to stream, Demon Hunter. Limitless ship. Not this weekend. I would say Limitless is either Singapore or Mexico at this point. Show me the Williams. Okay, let's see. I think... This is going to be a very fat A tier. I'm just realizing it now. I'm like sorting it through. Okay, let's just go Kimi Antonelli first. Kimi Antonelli is also F tier. Don't own Kimi Antonelli. There's no reason to. I think... I mean, it's going to be a pretty fat A tier, but that's fine. I don't think anyone is S tier other than Piastri. Am I wrong to say that? Do Williams last? Why Yuki F tier? It's not that he's... I mean, he just doesn't perform for the price. Like, at his price point, just get Albon instead. Okay. I think Lance Stroll is probably C tier this week. The Aston Martin doesn't look great. He's good for budget gains, but he's quite expensive. And with the sort of strategies you want to hone in on this week, there are better drivers to own. I think Alonso, by contrast, is B tier. Slightly cheaper. Prefer him over it. He can always pop up with a result. He's been in really good form recently. And I think both the Williams drivers are A tier. Alongside Colapinto. I'm just gonna put everyone out, into their tiers here. This feels correct to me. I don't think Hadjar is S tier. I mean, you know, sure he's going to increase in price, but I think there's an argument to be made to pick Sainz over him. I think all of Let's go. Let's like this. I think Albon is the best of these, but obviously he's a different price category. I think this is like the 4 horsemen of the 5 apocalypse are all very pickable this week. And I don't know who I would put above any single one of them. It is the tier list in general or for this race? For this race only, Demon Hunter. Hadjar S tier, Hadjar S. I see what you guys are saying, but I don't agree because I don't think he's must-have. S tier is must-have. You have to have this asset. I don't think Hadjar is a must-have. I think you can have Hadjar, but I think there are more important things to do this week than to rush to buy Hadjar. Such as this. Martin Rabbit says -10 to get Colapinto out for Hadjar. Do we think Hadjar scores 15 points again? Maybe. Colapinto could get a 2-pointer, and then Hadjar gets a 12-pointer, and your -10 did nothing. Hadjar's A+. Yeah, sure. Hadjar's A+, but like I think all these assets are good. Russell's A? I disagree. I think Leclerc and Norris are a clear step above him. Why is Lawson A tier? Because he's been really good lately. He's on a really good form. The V card looks good. He's at great price points. I think this is the tier list for Monza. Loxolodal on Twitch says Hadjar definitely not S tier, by the way. So someone agrees with me. Would you 2x Leclerc or Piastri? Piastri. Maker just joined. Are you considering a -10 or even -20? No, I'm just considering free transfers at this point. Leclerc or Piastri 2x, Piastri 2x. Don't you think Hamilton over Leclerc because of starting positions? No, I think Leclerc over Hamilton because of driver of the day. This is strictly driver related, and I think if Leclerc gets P3, I think he gets driver of the day, even if Hamilton climbs from like P9 to P5 or P4. I don't think a -10 is worth it to go from Lawson to Hadjar or Sainz. Definitely not. Lawson could definitely just turn up with a P8 to get, 10 points, and then Sainz gets a 5-pointer, and you're crying. -2x Norris or Piastri. That's closer, but I'm slightly leaning Piastri. Team submission soon? Yeah, in like 10 minutes. Leclerc is usually pretty honest in interviews, and he thinks pole is doable. Yep, that would be pretty crazy. NK is very correct. I haven't said that once so far this stream. We're only on 76 likes for the stream over on YouTube, and there's 350 people in here. Crazy number, by the way. Thank you so much. If you haven't liked the stream, make sure you do so. It costs absolutely nothing. It helps boost the stream a little bit. Helps me out. We can definitely hit 100 like right now. Just boom. Just like the stream. It's not that difficult. I'm gonna click update and we better be at 100. 92? Come on. 8 more. 8 more. There we go. 102. Thanks, guys. Would you prefer Hamilton over Leclerc when he's getting minus penalty, meaning overtakes frame? Yes, if it wasn't for it being Monza. Right? Because I think Leclerc, if Leclerc gets P3, I think he gets driver of the day. And that's worth more, I think, than Hamilton. Twitch link, top of the description. Top of the description. But I'm also just Rain Fantasy there. So you can just find me there. I have 130.3 budget. Should I take -20? I think, guys, I think you guys are going a bit crazy on the minus 10s and -20s here. I think it's definitely fine to keep like an Alonso and not have these assets. It's totally fine. Seeing both Alpines in F, would you then rather go for Russell and a bit better B tier drivers, or Leclerc and the bottom of the barrel B tier, both Alpines? I would go for Russell and the 4 horsemen. Ryther FP3 Sims ETA 30 minutes according to Fantasy Tools Discord channel. Tell us, that's the stuff I like to see. Thank you for the report. We now know 30 minutes. Which means we should probably wait for... I mean, we'll start doing team submissions, but the FP3 sims could change them, so... Silk Song 30 minutes, lol. I'm down to slam some Silk Song, but we're not gonna do that. Let's talk about constructors. Okay, let's talk about constructors. I usually don't do this, but I think it's fine for this week because it actually matters. Let's just add some cars to the screen. Okay, Alpine, terrible. These are way too big, by the way. Why was the Red Bull and the McLaren so much smaller? Okay, let's add the McLaren. Let's make them a size that's manageable. And let's just... through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's just boom, 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 boom. Haas, Aston Martin, V-Carb, Stake, and Alpine. There we go. McLaren must-haves. S tier, clear. Mercedes. I need to wait and think about Mercedes for a bit. I think Red Bull are F tier. There's no reason to own the Red Bull constructor. Ferrari are A tier for sure. They're definitely really good this weekend. I mean, Haas are not bad, but they're like C tier. Alpine are also F. I think Aston Martin is also like C tier this weekend. They're not like awful, but they're fine. I would say that like all of these cheap constructors are here in B tier. And I would say Mercedes is also probably C tier, yeah? I think this makes sense. Yeah, we got a Canva Pro out here. I am prepared sometimes. I am prepared sometimes. Yeah, we did F1 predict at the start of the stream. The thing is, like, these three assets are good because it allows you to sometimes afford Norris and Piastri. Because McLaren is that much better than everyone else. But, like, straight up, Ferrari is obviously better than these three. And again, I think having any of these three is also fine. I would argue the Stake might be C tier, but, like, they're also cheaper, so maybe... I think they're bottom of B, but I would own these two above them. Ripped and realized there's a 1 hour cooldown Discord. Yeah, it's just so it doesn't get spammed, Obito. But I think this is correct. For this week. Alright, my nose is running again. Quick snot break, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I have conceded. I've lost. We now have paper here at the ready. I lost the battle against the Snot Man. The nose won this time. Awful. This always happens to me in September, man. I always get sick. Right as the summer ends, it's like, hey, it's time. Leave me alone, man. VCarb is a trap this week. I'm gonna put you on screen because I think what you're saying is interesting. VCarb is a trap this week, I think. Points seems really unlikely to stronger Williams, and they are the lowest positions gained team. They're below Aston Martin for me. Interesting take. I think... I don't disagree. I don't disagree. But then again, if they qualify high, we've seen what they can do. We have seen what they can do. With wildcard still in the back pocket, I may towards gambling with Williams Leclerc over Ferrari, Albon Sainz. Interesting gamble, but I don't think I would go for it. But I have not done my team selection yet, no. I mean, in that case, do we do this? Is Williams this good? And then these are just like B tier? Maybe. Nah, I think it's just Williams are here. Okay, before we do team submissions, I want to briefly catch everyone in chat up to what my plans are. We are zoomed in. I remembered this time. So, this is my team. I have 2 free transfers. I'm planning on using both of them. I think I'm going to sell Stroll and Aston. I could also sell Norris and Aston. I think right now I'm leaning towards keeping triple McLaren and going for Williams here. And then this would be either Hadjar or Sainz. Limitless this week asks Meadow and Maka. I think no. I think Limitless is best saved for either Singapore or Mexico if you still have it. VCarb over Williams? I don't agree, Holly. VCarb and Albon instead of Sainz and Williams? Whoa, I don't think so. It is a possibility in budget-wise, I suppose. I guess that does allow me to afford Albon here. Am I sure I want Racing Bulls later, though? What does this do for me in the future? Then I would go into Azerbaijan. Have to keep Racing Bulls. This is majorly differential. Majorly differential. Okay, listen. Yeah, don't do it. If I'm doing this, isn't it just better to just get Albon and keep Aston Martin then? Like, honest question. Isn't it better to just do this and save a transfer? Williams might be good in Baku because of the straights. Exactly, that's what I'm considering. And I think Norris, Piastri, McLaren will be... Yeah, I think you think Stroll finishes last? It's also possible. Definitely keep a transfer. The thing is, if I want a team with Williams, that's why I'm like leaning towards going for this, for 2 transfers. Is because if Williams are good here, I think they'll be good in Baku as well. And then in Baku, I can just save a transfer then. And then I would have 3 free transfers in Singapore. And then I can go to a 4A lineup in Singapore. No Ferrari for this week is crazy. It is, but not if McLaren get a 1-2. I think I'm fine. If McLaren 1-2 it, this could definitely outscore Ferrari teams. Again, I'm gonna reiterate. I think Piastri, Leclerc, McLaren, Ferrari teams are the best. Like, though, with any of the horsemen. But I can't afford that. Let me actually... I haven't done my transfers on my other team. My other team looks like this. So... this team has a budget of 130.1, so just slightly better. I can't go for... I have 2 transfers here. I can't do Leclerc here, unfortunately. I could do this and then this. Is that worth it for this? It might be. Rocking 1 Colapinto. I mean, I want Leclerc on 1 team, so I'll do this for this team. It's not that I care that much about this team. It's my second team. I don't care that much about it. And I do want Leclerc on at least 1 team. This team has a bunch of transfers. It's also decently active. 3 free transfers. What's its budget again? Also 130.1. Celtic got stuck for an hour and a half. Unfortunate. Did Heim get 5 places penalty? Yes, they did. Yes, he did. Yeah, let's just do the triple out here for this team. There we go. That's that team done. Now it's just what I do here. Is it worth taking Hadjar over Lawson with -10? No, just stick with Lawson. 100% just stick with Lawson. There's nothing indicating that Hadjar would out-qualify and outperform Lawson in this weekend. Lawson could put a P6, and then you've done it -10 and lost points on it. If it's a free transfer, then I would say go for it, because Hadjar does look slightly better for budgets. But for a hit, never. Any Limitless chip? No. Okay, if you still have Limitless, you use it either in Singapore or Mexico, in my opinion. Probably save it for Mexico, because that gives you a couple of sprint races to look at. Final fix for Leclerc. If you still have your final fix available and Leclerc puts a P1, you don't have him, I think it's a really decent shout to final fix Leclerc. What about wildcard? When to use? When your team needs it. And I think this weekend is a great time for final fix. Or, if you do a bunch of crazy stuff, you can then final fix 2 of 4A in, like, Singapore. Take a -10 only if you think gain at least 15 points or more. Yep. I think -10 are only worth it when you're, like, switching constructors. Ferrari look good in FP3. They look fine. I am the final fix master. That is true. You should listen to me. Calendor says that I'm the final fix master. So when I say a final fix is good, it is good. Is it worth waiting to use wildcard when I 4A? It depends on what your team is now. I mean, listen, if I had my wildcard, I would use it this week. Because I'd be super down to do 4 or 5 transfers here. And, like, get Hadjar, get Lawson, get, you know... Even though I'm fine with keeping Alonso, that's why I'm not gonna, like, take a -10. I'm fine with keeping Alonso. But if I were to wildcard, if I were to wildcard with my budget, I would probably have this team right here. And then Sainz or Lawson here with Ferrari. I think this is what I would wildcard to if I had wildcard. But because I don't have wildcard, like I think in my realistic scenario, let's go back to this, right? These are my 2 options. And in this scenario where I run the Piastri Ferrari team, I'm stuck with Stroll and Alonso. And I do think going for Sainz or Hadjar here, again, Sainz or Hadjar, I think the second team looks stronger. Again, I don't have final fix, so I can't final fix if Leclerc gets pole, but I would be okay with Leclerc. Oh, sorry. I would be okay with Leclerc getting P3 with this team. I just need Williams to, you know, be 3rd or 4th best constructor, and McLaren to still 1-2 it. You're going Williams the 2nd? I'm leaning towards it. Bortoleto over Lawson, do you reckon? He looked really good in FP3. I think it's fine. Like, whichever one you want is okay. I think Bortoletto's slightly better for budget, yeah? I think if you're wildcarding, you do look slightly at budget. Okay, I'm gonna be disgusting again. I'm so sorry. It's just one of those days. Okay, I'm back. Oh, my nose is winning. Yeah, we'll do team submissions right after we've reviewed the FP3 sims. So, usually we do team submissions top of the hour, but Celtic will run through them quickly and just tag them, which always helps. And also, I do want to see FP3 sims before we discuss that, so we'll wait for that. But if you haven't joined the Discord, link in the description on YouTube, and if you haven't liked this stream yet on YouTube, we're at 150 likes with 400 people in the stream right now. That's like 250 of you that have not just clicked the like button on the stream. It helps out a ton. It literally costs you nothing. Just like the stream. We can definitely hit 200. 400 people, by the way. Thank you so much for the support. Going for 4A, would you pick Gasly or Colapinto? Probably Gasly, even though he's going to drop in price. Just because, like, maybe he can, like, slap at P10 or something for, like, a 5-pointer. Whereas, like, I'm scared Colapinto's going to DNF. I have a bunch of Twitter messages. Who? I do expect to see the chat get spammed when FP3 sims are out. My nose is getting worse by the second. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's so unbelievably stuffed at the moment. It's actually crazy. No, you sound beautiful. I mean, agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. Are we leaning away from VCarb or no? I mean, I'm not leaning away from VCarb. I'm just not leaning towards VCarb, if that makes sense. I do think, however, let's go to my team. If we do this, I think it's better to go for Isaac Hadjar. It's safer budget-wise. I can always get Sainz later, and I already get Sainz points. And I don't get screwed if he DNFs. Team submissions. We'll do team submissions as soon as we have the FP3 sims because the FP3 sims are due to drop like any moment now. I think like 5 to 10 minutes. So I do want to look at the FP3 sims before I give any team submissions. I've not forgotten though. I just sneezed and it's your fault. Yeah, that sounds accurate. It would get my fault. It would be my fault. Get better. I'll try. Isn't Rob also sick? Are you guys listening to 2 streams at the same time for people with stuffy noses? That must be awful. Leclerc just need to come P3 of Ferrari, not FMO no strategy. Yeah. And I think Leclerc and Ferrari as a constructor will be good then. But if that happens and Norris and Piastri are P1, P2, we could definitely win it here. -10 is worth Hadjar in and signs out? No, definitely not. Definitely not. I feel like I need a big banner above me that just says, don't do a -10 to switch cheap assets around. It's almost never worth it. Usually free practice, what do people watch for, etc.? Like, how do you tell if a team is near the top or mid? So you look at long run pace, right? They usually show those types of graphics during free practice. That's what I look at. I also look at, I mean, just the general slash line, like how they're performing on different tires. And then, in general, just the confidence in the car, right? Kimi Antonelli hits the gravel. Don't really trust him that much. Bortoleto hit the wall in one of the races earlier this season. I can't remember which one it was, and I went without him, and then he ended up DNFing in the race. I just said, like, you know, Bortoleto doesn't look comfortable in this race, and I was right. So it's a combination of just looking for, you know, gut feeling and some data, and then you look at the data afterwards, and I mean, it's almost fun just watching cars go around on track. So can you do a poll of the 3 horsemen? There are 4 horsemen, but yeah. Went for launch. Are the FP3 sims out yet? The FP3 sims are out any moment now, 5 to 10 minutes. When is team submissions? As soon as we have reviewed the FP3 simulations. What about a -10 for budget gain? Early on in the season, maybe, because there are time throughout the season for like that budget gain to actually matter long term. But like right now, I don't really care that much about budget. So I don't think it's worth it now. Like earlier in the season, I think it would have been. Like doing a -10 after Australia when all of your assets DNF'd to get them out of there and not fall into a budget hellhole. I think that's completely reasonable. But now, nah. Worth taking a -10 to get Albon in over Sainz. Albon more likely to up in price for budgets. I think it's fine to keep Sainz. Rain, would you 2x Leclerc or Piastri? Definitely Piastri. Definitely one of the McLaren boys. By the way, if I'm doing this, I need to decide whether I'm 2xing Norris or Piastri. Limitless team? I mean, it's just McLaren, Ferrari, Max, or McLaren, Ferrari, Russell. I just don't think you should limit this in this race. Oh, Jesus. Leclerc, Piastri, Autopilot or 2x, 3x? Don't 3x in a single race weekend. Autopilot is fine. I can see, like, if you have Piastri, Leclerc, I think Autopilot is a decent shout. Because if Leclerc gets that P2 or that P1 with the driver of the day, I mean, boom, you have it locked down, yeah? Wildcard team? I just discussed it, but it's basically for... Okay, I'll do it again. I think the best wildcard team, if you're above like 132 million, is McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Leclerc, and then there are 4 assets currently around 5 million. I call them, or Hugo coined the term, the 4 horsemen of the 5 apocalypse. Incredibly confusing, but it's basically these 4. The best team to build this week is like this, right? With Bortoleto in there, but you need like 132 million for it. If you don't have that, then the best wildcard team, in my opinion, is this, again, with... I mean, you have Sainz plus Hadjar, and then you have either Liam Lawson or Bortoleto here. And this you could build with, like, 121 million all the way up to 130 million. So, I think best wildcard team, above 132 million, it's Piastri plus Leclerc. from 122 to like 132 million, I think something like this is the best wildcard team. Engineered to detail, only 181 likes and there's almost 400 of you. I mean, listen to what he's saying. He will find you if you don't like the stream. You don't want that. I've got 131 in wildcard. What will you do? Okay, you're in that annoying category. You're like, oh, I can almost make it. I think you can maybe afford to like have one of the Alpine boys, right? Just do this. Like Colapinto or Gasly in here. Something like basically downgrade one of the Apocalypse people to that and then just change it later. I think that's fine. If you're on 131. Is 125.9 a good budget at the moment? I think it's slightly below average, I would say. I think you're about I'd say you're about 1.5 races behind what I am at, so... I think Ocon is worth considering on the wildcard team if you don't have enough for double Ferrari. I would agree, Lox. I have kind of overlooked the Haas boys a bit. But you could definitely upgrade any of the horsemen if you want to. Crying with no money. I always do this once while we're waiting for FP3 sims, which should be literally any second now. What's everyone's budget? Make sure to spam the chat. Tell me what budget you're at, and we'll let Nevermind know if he's above or below average. I think he's slightly below average budget, unfortunately. I'll slap the Twitch chat on the screen as well, so you guys can see. What's everyone's budget? Come on, show us. Huge spread, I would say. $130, 126, 128. 109. How? Because you've been I assume you started later in the season, and I mean these people who are at 130 million started at the beginning of the year, so you're always at a disadvantage on budget when you start later on. But don't let that discourage you. I think it's really good to get some practice in on a low budget and then join at the start of next year, and then you're ready to get the ball rolling. Or I mean, you've had like Kimi Antonelli or Sainz this entire year, or Gasly, who have just been dropping in price this entire season. I think to anyone who's wondering, like, how do these people have like 130 million? It is this website right here. You can get their premium features using my code right there. You just go to the budget builder, and you do required points, and then you just pick the assets that are likely to increase in price here. That's what we've been doing like all year, essentially. Start of the season, at least. Like, I will admittedly, this is the first time I even consider what Lawson's price thresholds were, because I've not really looked at it that much since after the summer break, because I don't care as much. I mean, I still look at it and keep a general tab on who's at the top. I do think like Hadjar is a good option because he's up here as well, you know. But three free transfers here. What am I doing? Let's do Piastri, Leclerc here, autopilot, yeah, and then just get Williams and it would be crazy to know how Reiter put his stuff together post FP3 sensors. I have no idea how he does it, man. I have no idea how he does it. 130 plus, just follow a website. Yep. Not necessarily just follow it, but I mean, I've definitely been only considering cheap drivers from the start of the season, from when we figured out and the budget builder site was introduced, which was around like race 3, I think. From then until summer break, I've only selected my cheap drivers from the top of this list. Every time. I've not even considered anyone that had a 10 or above threshold. Until now, where I'm like, I would be fine owning Sainz because I don't care that he needs 14 points to increase. I think Sainz just looks good this week. Norris and Leclerc than Autopilot. I think Autopilot is really good if you have Leclerc in there. Because then you can, risk it, essentially. I think, yeah, if you have Leclerc plus Piastri or Leclerc plus Norris, I think Autopilot is really good this week. Bro, please drop a vid just on how to budget build. I think I did earlier in the season. But I can definitely make another one. I'm planning on making a couple of guide videos now that I have some extra time out. I'll definitely consider it. Not saving Autopilot for Brazil? I mean, listen, you can use Autopilot literally any week, and I think when you have 2 premium drivers from different teams, might as well go for it. What about Autopilot for Norris and Piastri? Usually one of them won't DNF, so I'm going to say no. If you have Norris and Piastri, I think you save Autopilot for a sprint weekend where it's more likely that one of them DNF. When does Fantasy Tools update FP3? Any second now. We're literally waiting for it to drop. And as soon as it drops, we'll look at that and then go straight to team submissions after that. Piastri, Leclerc plus Williams. I've considered it, but it's not for my team because that includes me keeping Stroll. And I would rather run Piastri Norris. But I do think Piastri, Leclerc plus Williams is a decent team. It's just not for me right now because I have other transfers I want to make. I want to sell Lance Stroll. What chips do you have left? On my main team, I only have Autopilot and extra DRS remaining. Good question, though. But it's a bit different on different teams. I'm saving extra DRS for one of the sprint weekends, where I'll have both Piastri and Norris, and then I'm using Autopilot probably one of the other sprint weekends. Probably Brazil if it rains there. What chips are good for Baku? I don't know, actually. No one? Maybe Final Fix if something crazy happens. Just watched FP3 highlights. Kick looked good on soft times. Kick did look good on soft times. But, like, are they good on soft times? Or are they going to put it P10 and then fall back in the race? You know what I mean? Is it Piastri Leclerc team worth minus 10 points? Depends on the rest of your team, man. Oh, no. What? Ryther having hardware issues. FP3 seems highly unlikely. Well, I guess we have to make do without, huh? A world without Ryther simulations. How will we survive? How will we survive? Okay. Quick snot break. Get some water because my throat hurts. And then we'll do team submissions. Yep. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll run a quick ad while I do that. Okay, let's lock in. So, Writer Sims should be a public good and decentralized so this doesn't happen. Alright, this is what's happening. We've been waiting for FP3 Sims because we were told that FP3 Sims would come. But Writer, who's the lead analyst and simulation maker over on F1 Fantasy Tools, has some hardware issues apparently. He just posted on Discord. So there is no FP3 Sims. Or at least they're highly unlikely, which means we have to make decisions on our own. Please focus, camera. I'm making a segment here. My camera's just not focusing. What is happening? Please, God. Okay, there we go. That fixed it. Alright, so. My camera is not locked in. I told you to lock in. My camera did not lock in. This is what's happening. No FP3 Sims, which means we have to make our decisions on our own. That's fine. We're big people. We're big boys. We can do that. We're big boys and girls. We can do that. It's better blurry. That's very mean. That is very hurtful and mean. Which means we're just gonna lock in to do team submissions right now. However, comma, like 415 of you in chat, 214 likes on YouTube, 250 likes, and we'll start the team submissions. On Twitch side, if you have Twitch Prime, make sure to use it. You don't have to use it on me. Just use it on one streamer, because if you have, if you have Amazon Prime and you don't use your Twitch Prime, you're essentially just giving the money to Jeff Bezos, and he doesn't need any more money. I or the other streamers need it more. So make sure to use your Twitch Prime if you have it, and if you do, next week when we do team submissions, you will be available to get priority in the Discord server to get your team rated. Chip Chip Chaga Chaga, thank you so much for the Prime. Already have Ferrari any thoughts where it's a dilemma? Just change your cheap assets, I would say. Let's go to the priority team submissions. This is what you get for being a YouTube member or a Twitch subscriber. Priority on team submissions. So, we have, first of all, Fraser, as always. The, I think, richest person in my stream. I think I've seen someone who was above Fraser before. But when we all spammed the chat, I feel like Fraser was still top. That's a quick check. If someone... Okay, Holly is super rich, apparently. 136.7 is crazy. But Fraser's one of the richest people. So, let's see what he can do. He can do McLaren, Norris, Piastri with Williams, Albon. Disgusting. Or McLaren, Ferrari with Norris, Sainz, Albon. Or McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Leclerc with Sainz, Alonso, Lawson. I think this looks the best. I'm gonna be honest, I think this looks the best. I think McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Leclerc is the best lineup above 132 million. And I wish I could get to that, though. How greedy indeed. Yeah. Listen, this team is good and all, and I think this could potentially outperform this team, but this team is just so much safer, right? Like this team is guaranteed to do well. Whereas this team is not guaranteed to do well, because if something happens to Sainz, like, you know, it could mess with you, right? I just think this team is so good. And I wish I could own this. I'm about 2 million off getting to a team like this. What about Limitless? I don't think Limitless is good this week. Who to 2x, Piastri or Norris? That's the... the answer is I don't know. Norris if you want to be risky, Piastri if you want to be safe. Fraser says, I agree, but I'm so close to triple Mac plus Ferrari. Just need a little more budget. I mean... Oh, fair. This is not a great budget team, yeah, because you have Sainz. I suppose. I mean, you could always do some budget building next race in Azerbaijan and then lock in the triple McLaren Ferrari team in Singapore. Forever greedy. Forever greedy. Alright, let's do... I'm gonna turn off streamer mode here so we can actually read who it is. Modern Rich, current team is the first pick, 2 changes available. So a team with McLaren, Aston Martin, Piastri, no 2 premium here. A lot of money in the bank. Plan here is Williams in, and then... Well, we have a lot of money in the bank here, 11 million. Budget's 119. Yeah, okay, that makes sense then. You can't reach to a... Have you used any chips yet? If wildcard is still available for you on a lower budget, I think it's fine to stick with something like this. Build the best budget team available. If you're trying to build a bit of budget to then switch to like a Piastri Leclerc build later on, I think this is probably the best. It differentiates you slightly and doesn't like shoehammer in the full Williams team. And I think Hadros is so good for what you want to do with gaining a bit more budget. And then you can use the wild card to change this to like a Piastri McLaren Ferrari build or a Piastri Leclerc McLaren cheap constructor build in either Azerbaijan or Singapore. So I think this is the best team for you. We then have Celtic. 1 is my current. All other options have 3 transfers. Alright, 3 transfers is a lot of transfers. A lot of things that could be done here. I think Behrman is very interesting. You're keeping him in all of your builds. That's a bit of a differential, but I like the trust. I haven't seen Behrman in too many teams. It's just a shuffle of cheap assets, what it looks like, but I think that's totally fine to do. I really like Team 1. This is sort of what I was going to build if I had my wildcard. And I think the McLaren Williams builds, unless you're at a lower budget, which Modric is, okay. So let me talk something general about simulations, right? And this is usually what happens when we do team submissions, that I go on a tangent about 1 or 2 teams, right? This works on 109 million. A lot of money in the bank, sure, but he wants to build a couple more million. That's fine. When you're building teams like this, with like Piastri, Russell, McLaren, Williams, I think you're missing the point. The reason for that is I think McLaren plus Williams is strong when you can have Piastri, Norris. The reason why these cheap constructors are working over something like a Ferrari build is because you can run Piastri and Norris. At this point, just run McLaren, Ferrari, and have Russell be a cheap asset. So that is what I'm trying to focus in on here. Like, unless you're on a much lower budget, which Modric is, I think a team like this is better than a team like this. Almost always. Writer posted vibes. I'm telling you my vibes right now, so I guess you're just gonna decide on who to trust. We have a team very similar to mine, but already with Sainz in there. That's good for you. I wish I was in that boat. Obviously, you got unlucky with Sainz last time around, so you had a worse weekend last time around. I think, yeah, 2 transfers. This is something like this is what I'm going for. Something like this is what I wish I could be going for, but I probably have to keep one of the Aston Martin boys. Writer posted his thoughts. He thinks the McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Albon, Stroll, Alonso, Bortoletto. Interesting. My team is same as yours, but seems to be the best at bit of budget with best points. Sorry for the non-professional submission. That's okay, Caladori. You're fine. Albon is what I've been talking about this entire time. I think this is totally fine. Alright, let's go to the regular team submissions. So, there's a lot of team submissions. It's only 25 minutes to the deadline. I have to lock in my team as well, and we still have to do team tip of the week. So, don't get upset. There's 19 messages here, alright? I'm not gonna get to all of them. But just use the general knowledge that I've talked about with all of these. And we'll move through that. So, Aisha with 133 million. Just kind of listen to what I talked about with Fraser. I think the best build is... yeah, you have to... You probably don't have wildcard, yeah? So, option 3... Option 2, 4A Premium Ferrari. I mean, this looks pretty good, yeah. Ideally, you would have Leclerc here instead, and then like Sainz instead of Alonso, or you know, whatever. So I preferred this team, but with Leclerc and Sainz, or Leclerc and Hadjar. Maybe you don't have transfers enough for that, and in that case, I think this is totally fine. But with your budget, I think you should stick on a team like this and then move to those sort of teams in the future. We have a bunch of teams here. OG team, triple McLaren with Ocon in there, super interesting. Love these. -10s is fine, but I probably wouldn't do it. This is an interesting one, but like if you're doing this, the difference here is you're keeping Ocon and you're getting Hadjar, so you never do this. You always do this. Does that make sense? Because, like, changing Ocon to Hadjar for a -10 is not worth it. Ever, in my opinion. So, it's always this over this. If you want to go for this and be differential, I get it. But I think this is better. We have room for a few more. This looks very similar to what we've already discussed with triple McLaren Aston Martin. Same goes here. I think Leclerc, this, again... I don't think this is strong, because I think Ferrari is better here with someone else. I only think McLaren Williams is strong if you either have a much lower budget, or you're running triple McLaren. I think that's the reason why this build is powerful. But I don't think it's bad, okay? Listen, this could definitely work, especially with autopilots and Leclerc getting driver of the day. It could work out really well. But you kind of need Leclerc to get driver of the day here. 2 free transfers, wildcard available. I don't think you need to wildcard with this team. I think Stroll and Alonso out for anything is probably fine. Option 1, just 1 transfer. I would probably... I mean, yeah, you can keep Alonso, I suppose. Yeah, you want to sell Lawson. I mean, this is a budget building team. I like this. This is totally fine. I would just run this. Not bother about... Like, again, Piastri, Leclerc, McLaren, Williams for a -10. I only think this is strong if you have triple McLaren. Falazza. We have triple McLaren again. Good. Option 1, wildcard. I don't like this, okay? This, I would be okay with Colapinto here if you had Leclerc. But I think you should go for Albon plus other assets, like I showed earlier in the stream. I've shown a wildcard team that I think is the best. Alright, general tips, because I see this a lot now. If you're above 132 million and you want the best wildcard team, above 132 million, I think, by far, this is the best team, okay? You run this, plus a combination of the 5 million assets. I can't afford this because I'm not rich. And again, this could be this and this, or whatever. And here, I think it's okay if you're like at 131 million to maybe go for something like this. You know, I'm literally 0.1 away from affording this. So if you're slightly lower, sure, you can go for one of the Alpine boys. But if 132 million, I think this is the best. Second best wildcard team, I think it's better to just have Ferrari and set it up for the future. So I think the second best wildcard team, if you're at like 122 million to like 130 million, is to go Piastri, Alex Albon, and then just pick the assets you want here. I think Bortoleto is good. I think Sainz is good. I think Lawson's good. I think Hadjar's really good. I think Alonso's fine. I think Behrman and Ocon are both fine. But I do think that's the best. And usually, I don't like -10s that much. So look at your -10s, like, in isolation. What are you actually getting by getting the -10? Calculate what points are you expecting, okay? This does segue me in. Okay, initially, the tip of the week. Alright, let's do tip of the week. Let's do tip of the week. So, 15 minutes to the deadline. Tip of the week. Number one tip of the week is... Initially, it was like, get some Williams cover, but you don't have to get Williams cover. What you have to do, because I've gotten this question more today than usual, because there's so much chaos and so many options available. Get good? No. Anthony, it's something similar, right? It is calculate your -10s. It's okay to take a -10. It's even maybe okay to take a -20, but you have to look at what you're actually getting. What are you expecting these drivers to score, right? Are you sitting with Liam Lawson and you're saying, oh, I want a -10 to get Hadjar in? How many points do you think Hadjar will score over Liam Lawson? Hadjar's not going to P3 again. I don't think so, at least. Calculate each individual transfer and figure out what are you actually getting with the -10s. Do what I did. Okay, hold up. Do open MS Paint or take, you know, pen and paper like a regular person and write down what you actually get with your transfers, because there's a lot of -10s flying about and I feel like they're not always optimal. And sure, this week I would love, listen, I would love it if I could build this team but skip out on Stroll and run like a Hadjar here, you know? Imagine I could just say no Stroll and I have Hadjar. But do I think Hadjar's going to score more than 10 points more than Stroll? No. Okay? I have not locked my team in yet, Iman. So that's tip of the week. Calculate each -10 and like actually look into what you're getting from it and figure out if it's the right thing for your team. Because I'm seeing a lot of -10s and -20s in chats. And I think so far, I think I've probably seen like 10 to 15% of -10s that I actually like, okay? Majority of -10s I've seen proposed in chat and in Discord have been a no from me, you know? Granted, a -10 could definitely be optimal, but you gotta look into it, okay? Best for 120 million team? It's probably just Piastri. It's probably like you skip out on Albon, right? You go Piastri, McLaren, Ferrari, and then 4 cheap assets that look good, but you have to go without Albon. Robert Cato locked in with autopilot. Good luck, man. Okay, it's time for me to lock in. I still need to figure out if I'm doing Norris or Piastri 2x. I think I'm going to stick with my Norris 2x. I think so, at least. Hadjar asides, I think I'll go for Hadjar. So I think I'm going Ferrari less. Because I'm okay with that. And I'm gonna trust McLaren to be unstoppable. And with that, I think I'll go for Hadjar because it feels safer than going for the Sainz. And then 2x on Norris. How much do you like Hamilton, especially with grid penalties? Slightly less than Leclerc. Christian, that was literally my second option. I think it's fine. It's just that I didn't like keeping Stroll, And I suspect McLaren will still want to. Oh my god. Is this real life? You're taking the risk with Norris 2x? I think so, yeah. I want to be differential. I want to try. I think I need to try something to reach top 1k. I can't just play safe with Piastri 2x all the time. I think a lot of people would do this in here. Ferrari tends to be superb in Azerbaijan as well. Well, I'm hoping Williams and McLaren are better. And this... Okay, Sims are out. 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 Oh my god. Are you kidding me? There's actually no way. Okay. What is... Okay, Ferrari Albon is expected. But what is the Ferrari Williams Delta? 213? Will this sway me? 213 versus 190. Okay, so it's literally recommended the same exact thing, but Sainz instead of Sainz and Hadjar. Where I prefer Hadjar slightly for budget and points look similar. 25 points for Williams predicted. 62 points for Ferrari predicted. It's about a 15-point swing. Huh. I think it's gonna come down to if Norris wins or not. Because if Norris wins and I have him 2x, then I think the Williams team is better. Use Limitless here? Not. I think it's too unclear. I mean, not really. You just go for McLaren Ferrari. I think, you know, Limitless is fine at this point. But I prefer to keep it. Now confused as the two exact teams we were all thinking of. I know, this is... Okay, so... What I think this means, right? Look at the top team here. This was my option this entire time. I mean, this could be Hadjar as well. It doesn't really matter. I think... The McLaren Williams team with Norris 2x will be better if Norris wins. I think that's the thing. Time is tight. Time is really tight. It's 11 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna back myself. I know simulations say Ferrari. Simulations say Ferrari team with Albon. I'm gonna back myself and go for this. And if Norris wins, I look like a genius. And if Norris DNFs, my season's literally just over. Norris gives you the option to final fix to Leclerc. Yeah, but I used my final fix last week on Hadjar, so I don't have it anymore. Williams way off the pace in FP3. I don't know what to do, man. I mean, the safest play is Ferrari, okay? The safest play is by far Ferrari. That is a big risk for season over. You are correct. What do you think of Limitless? I think Limitless is fine, Marcos. I think Limitless is decent. But I think it's probably going to be better in like Mexico or Singapore. There could also be a lot of overtakes. I think we're gonna see different tire strategies. Panic stations, Ferrari Albon. We have 10 minutes, by the way. 10 minutes to the deadline. Again, it all comes back to this: Hamilton, Leclerc, and Stroll, or Norris. Okay, this won't be Sainz anymore. It's Norris, Sainz, and Hadjar. Okay. Which side is the best? Norris, Sainz, Hadjar, or Hamilton, Leclerc, and Stroll? This is worse than last week? It is. Okay, I'm gonna do a poll. Quick poll on YouTube. One or two? Team 1 or Team 2? Leaving it down to the last 9 minutes, just how I like it. Basically, Hamilton, Leclerc, and Stroll versus Norris, Sainz, and Hadjar. This is not drivers, by the way. This is the constructor Ferrari. So this has nothing to do with budgets. Or driver of the day. Because this is Ferrari constructor. Classic rain, love it. Yep. This is a crazy one. We have some people spamming on Twitch as well. Appreciate you. Who do you trust more, Williams or Ferrari? I mean, I trust Ferrari more. This is not about Williams versus Ferrari. This is about Norris versus Ferrari. That's the real question here. Is Norris, Sainz, and Hadjar versus Hamilton, Leclerc, and Stroll? Who wins? Piastri car deassembled? What? You can't drop that kind of lore right now, JC. What are you talking about? I don't have time for this. Oh my god, this is dreadful. I hate this. They showed it, but it's fine. Okay, it's fine. Alright, you guys are actually useless, okay? Can I just say that? What is this? 51% to 49? 51 to 49? You are unbelievable. How am I supposed to make a decision with this? How you guys were supposed to help me, huh? I did F1 predict at the start of the stream, Ivan. You guys are not helping at all. We're 3 likes away from 250, by the way. Statistics don't lie. Hiya. McLaren are changing Oscar's car after post FP3 changes. That actually matters a lot. Believe it or not, because this only works if McLaren won too. 15 points is 15 points? Sure, but if Norris wins... This team is so much more fun. I don't want to keep Stroll, though. What's Stroll's budget? It's pretty good, yeah? Autopilot for the win. Okay. I think with the fact that like McLaren are making changes post FP3, 6 minutes. I think I'm switching. I think I'm going Ferrari. I think I'm going Ferrari, Albon. Everyone's spamming no, yes, no, yes, no, yes. Correct choice, no. This is more stressful than quali. It is more stressful than quali. 5 minutes? I need... Like, if I'm going McLaren-Williams, I need McLaren to be 1-2. Oh, is there an ad break? I literally cannot stop it. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do anything. I wish I could do something. I wish I could turn off ads right now. Delay ads. Okay, I'm delaying ads. I'm delaying ads. I'm delaying ads. I can't do it on Twitch, unfortunately. Why Piastri? Well, I mean, obviously Piastri. No. I need the money. Proud of you, man. 5 minutes. I listen. I wanna go McLaren Williams so badly. I just really dislike Lance Stroll, man. But maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm just gonna trust in this. Like, this would be my team then. I can't even afford. Like, I would have to take a -10 to have Lando Norris in here, guys. I can't do Lando Norris. It has to be a -10. Not Aston. What do you want me to do? I'm not gonna take a -10 to sell Stroll to Hadjar. He had no Stroll. I have to have Stroll. That was already my team. Guys, you're not understanding what the dilemma is here. This is the dilemma. Ignore all the X's. Like, I'm selling... Submit. Turn off the music. I don't have time for this. Raid 1 said high risk, high reward. Go with your gut. Submit. 4 minutes. What is the best? Yeah, but it's... Okay. The problem with this team is that I have to make a bunch of transfers to get to 4A later, because I keep Stroll and I need to sell Stroll later. So, I'm gonna go back on my... Okay, I'm going back on the thing. Okay. Listen. I know this is a massive risk, but... Hear me out, 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 hear me out! With this team, I am better set up for Singapore. Because I don't have Stroll. So I can way easier move. I have 3 minutes. Papaya rules. Papaya rules. Don't go for Williams. Well, what am I supposed to do then? Okay, ignore the Williams, guys. Williams is just there as a... Like, if Williams scored 25 points, I'm happy. This is all in on McLaren. That's the point. Williams sucked today, DNF. If you don't submit it now, you won't have that team. I know, I have 2 minutes. Ferrari get pit stop points. I honestly don't know what to do, guys. I've never panicked this much in my life. McLaren's take each other out, turn 1. If that happens, that happens, man. Plus Hamilton points. Sides DRF risk, go Ferrari. Norris 2x's to play. Stick to Ferrari. No, don't do it. Oh, I mean... Colapinto instead of Lawson. I don't care. Definitely not, by the way, Lawson. I did it. Alright, we're doing this. Ah, come on! Williams, come on! Alright, no Ferrari. Woo! We did it. We did it. Okay. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Team is locked in. Team is locked in. Team is locked in. Team is locked in. No Ferrari. I just need a McLaren 1-2 and I'm fine. I just need a McLaren 1-2 and I'm fine. Rethink 2x before the deadline? No. If I'm doing this, I'm doing Norris 2x. That's the point. This could either go really well or really poorly. Alright? I'm just hoping I don't get punished by like 30 points. If I lose 10 points to the McLaren Ferrari team, I'm fine. Because I think this team, honestly, I think this team is better set up for the future. Because I have better cheap assets. And it's better for budget that way. I think as long as I don't lose more than like 15 points, I think I'm fine. I've clicked it. I've confirmed. I've confirmed. It's confirmed. Yeah. It's locked. It's locked. You're fine. Holy shoo. Oh my god, that was so stressful. I've not been paying attention to my phone. At all. Wow. Alright, usually we watch the qualifying over on Twitch, but I actually have to go today. So no quali watch along. I'm so sorry. I'm sure there are other streamers that you can watch it with. So there's not gonna be any watch along today. Usually we do that for qualifying, but I'm going to a concert, so I literally have to like get ready, shower, eat some food, and then head out. Literally straight after quali, I'm heading away to go to a concert. So that's gonna be it for this stream. Thank you so much for joining. Honestly, incredible stream. That's the by far the most stressful deadline ever for this game, and I'm still not sure I made the correct decision, but I think this is more fun, even though I'm a Ferrari fan. So thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna end stream now. I'm getting a bunch of messages. I will see you all next time. Good luck. Video on Monday for whatever ends up happening with this. My goodness, that was a lot of fun. I'll see you around, guys. Goodbye.